Deep in the forest stood a battered yellow tent. Inside, a strange crumpled packet, and a young couple whose story will send chills down your spine. This wasn't just a camping trip, it was a secret buried for years. ***. Two teenagers told their parents they were headed for a popular Vermont campground. A weekend of hiking, campfires, and late summer air, but they never arrived. Instead, they vanished into some of the most unforgiving wilderness in the Northeast. For 3 long months. Their families heard nothing, no calls, no sightings, until a state contractor stumbled upon a collapsed tent and a strange candy wrapper that would ignite more questions than it answered. This is the story of what happened, or what might have happened, to Red Connecade and Odessa Vance. It was mid-September. The last warm gasp before Vermont's forests turned gold and red. Sharon Connecade stood at her kitchen window as dusk crept over the hills. Phone in hand, eyes darting to the clock. Her son Rhett, 17 years old, was supposed to be home. Hours ago, he wasn't the type to disappear without a word. Neither was his girlfriend, 16-year-old Odessa. They'd left on Friday for a weekend camping trip, a compromise between Odessa's strict mother, Jacqueline, and the teenagers. Desire for freedom. Odessa's mom didn't like the idea of her daughter camping alone with Rhett, but the plan sounded safe. The Green Mountain National Forest, a public campground, families everywhere. Park rangers on patrol. By Sunday evening, though, that safety was an illusion. Sharon called Rhett's phone. Straight to voicemail. Odessa's too. Maybe it was bad reception, she thought. But by 6 p.m., her gut told her something was wrong. She grabbed her keys and headed toward the campground, the winding mountain road slick with rain. The headlights cut through a heavy mist, the kind that makes the world outside look ghostly. When she arrived, a park ranger flipped through the weekend's check-in logs. His brow furrowed. "They never checked in," he said. That was the moment Sharon's fear hardened into something else cold. Focused determination. She drove every loop of the campground. Nothing. No blue Jeep, no camp chairs, no tent. Just empty sights and the damp scent of pine. In her car, Sharon opened their last text exchange. A selfie Red had sent Friday afternoon, his arm wrapped around Odessa. Behind them, rough stone walls, the shadowed mouth of a cave. Caption, heading, out now. See you Sunday. It wasn't the campground. By 9 p.m., both families were at the police station. That's when the truth came out. Red and Odessa had lied about where they were going. Their real destination? Unknown. The search began immediately. Helicopters swept low over tree canopies. K-9 units sniffed damp undergrowth. Volunteers waded through knee-deep mud and thorn thickets. But there were no signs, no Jeep, no tent, no dropped belongings. Just nothing. Their phones had pinged only once after leaving home. Both signals went dead within an hour of each other. It was as if the forest had swallowed them whole. Then came a break, a quiet, almost overlooked clue. Rhett's Uncle Barry mentioned that just days before the trip, Rhett had borrowed his handheld GPS. Investigators pulled the data from Barry's computer. The saved route didn't lead to the Green Mountains. It led far north to Vermont's most remote territory. The Northeast Kingdom. It's a place that lives up to its name: endless forest, glacial ponds, abandoned logging roads, and whole swaths of land where you can go days without seeing another soul. If you wanted to disappear, or make someone disappear, this was the place. The search shifted north. But this was different terrain, brutal, isolating. Helicopter teams reported almost no clearings, just miles and miles of green. Weeks passed. Leaves turned to flame, then dropped. Deer season came, and with it, more boots in the woods, more chances that evidence might be trampled or carried off without anyone realizing it. By early December, Snow dusted the higher elevations. The official search scaled back. And for the families, the silence was suffocating. Then, in January, a state contractor named Wyatt Pendergast was surveying a dense stretch of undergrowth when he spotted something unnatural among the snow-covered leaves. A tent faded yellow, collapsed and half buried. Inside, damp sleeping bags, a half-empty backpack, a small camping stove. Everything looked as if its owners had stepped away for a moment and never returned. Near the fire pit, half hidden in leaves and ash, was a candy wrapper. Not just any candy wrapper. Stony Patch, a brand of high-potency cannabis edibles. When police told the families, the reaction split like a fault line. Jacqueline, Odessa's mother, was furious. She painted Red as reckless, possibly dangerous under the influence. Sharon pushed back. The scene didn't look like kids who got high and wandered off. It looked like they'd been interrupted. And there was more. About 150 yards from the tent, down a steep ravine, searchers found Rhett's glasses, bent, lenses cracked. Half a mile away, on an overgrown logging road, investigators spotted tire tracks. Not from Rhett's Jeep, these were wider, deeper. A heavy-duty truck or SUV. Two competing theories emerged. 1. The teens experimented with edibles, got disoriented, and succumbed to exposure in the freezing night. 2. They were victims of foul play. Someone had found them out there. Or maybe they had arranged to meet someone, and that meeting turned deadly. Investigators followed the drug lead first. The Stony Patch edibles were traced to a small-time dealer in a nearby town. He admitted selling them to Rhett days before the trip, and he told police something chilling. Rhett had mentioned wanting extreme seclusion for the weekend. Not just to camp alone, but because they were meeting someone. This was the pivot point. Who were they meeting? Why in one of the most isolated parts of Vermont? And why hadn't that person come forward? Forensic teams pulled everything from there. Social media accounts, posts, DMs, even deleted messages. They found a series of private exchanges with an older male who had been sharing survivalist tips and remote camping locations. The account vanished days after Rhett and Odessa went missing. It was almost certainly a fake profile, but no one could tie it to a real identity. The Jeep still hadn't been found. Search teams dragged ponds, scoured quarries, and walked miles of forgotten logging tracks. A few hunters recalled seeing a vehicle deep in the woods around that time, but by the time police got there, snow had erased the trail. Spring brought snowmelt and new dread. Cadaver dogs were brought back in, searching for remains that winter may have preserved, but weeks passed with no discovery. For the families, it was torture. Sharon still believed her son might be alive, possibly being held somewhere. Jacqueline believed the opposite, that they had been lured into a trap and were never coming home. In this small Vermont town, rumors ran rampant. Some pointed to the drugs. Others whispered about the older man online. Some thought the Jeep was hidden in a barn or buried in an old logging pit. But beneath all the speculation was one uncheckable truth. Rhett and Odessa had gone into the wilderness with a plan that involved someone else, and that someone has never been found. So here's where the mystery stands. 2 teenagers vanish without a trace. An abandoned tent, a sewn, crumpled edible wrapper, a pair of broken glasses, tire tracks from a vehicle no one can identify, and a social media ghost who disappears right after they do. If you know who that person is, or if you think you've seen Rhett's faded blue Jeep in a place it shouldn't be, law enforcement is still listening, because until the day someone talks, this is a story with no ending.